Hello everyone. Am I audible? Say yay. I can't hear it. Okay. So how many of you are comfortable with English? How many of you are comfortable with Hindi? And French? Okay. Oh, you are comfortable with that? Wow. ठीक है, इसका मतलब सो नहीं रहे हैं सब. Okay, so first of all, welcome to the React community meetup. I am a QA tester. You would be wondering why a QA is a speaker at a dev event. Even I'm wondering the same. So we'll be figuring that out in the upcoming slides. इसके बाद lunch होगा और आई थिंक लंच से पहले जिसकी प्रेजेंटेशन होती है वो ऑडियंस के लिए पेशेंस होती है और स्पीकर के लिए टॉलरेंस होती है. So please bear with me for just next 5 to 10 minutes. I won't take long. Or what do you say that my talk would render faster than your components on the app, right? Okay, so we can go ahead. Or just for the next slide, please. Okay. So I started my career 9 years ago, and being the beginner, I was asked to do certain certifications. One of them was ISTQB. And there's one major question over there: how many types of testing are there? This is the basic one, like in the QA community. So how many types of testing are there? There are many, 100 types of testing: functional, UI, performance testing, and many others. Another question is the UI testing. Who performs it? It's dev or the QA? So it was, answer was always, it was very clear. Functional and all the, performance testing is performed by the QA. And when it comes to component or the unit testing, I didn't do anything. Okay, I'll continue. So UI or the unit or the component testing is being done by the developers. Later in 2 to 3 years, I realized what we do as QA is we are given certain task. Let's say I need to test a whole login page. So it's a login page, I'll test the functionality with the valid data, invalid data, and I'll go on. But when it comes to dev, they create, especially the React devs, they create specific components, right? It's not the complete page loading. It's like you're rendering few components in smaller parts of the page. So being a QA, the approach that we follow is you need not to test the entire page in one go. You need to test the component as well, which could be considered as the component testing. Moving on to the next slide, we'll be talking about what approach as QA you can take to test the React apps. I know you all, like most of you are developers here, much knowledgeable than me when it comes to coding. I'm not here to teach about the coding, but yes, I can tell how much a QA participates in building or delivering a quality product. So while building this, it's not always about bugs. You build a bridge over it, right? Developer codes it, QA tests it. But what's the approach of testing is, you start with the component testing. It's like 100 components on a page. You test one component one by one. The same thing dev does. You would be asking, if the dev tests the component, why is QA needed to test the same, right? The answer is, or I would say, if anyone would like to answer it. I'm sure QA are also sitting here, right? If any of you is into the QA field, can you raise hand, please? Great. Wow, Shubham. Okay, so can anyone answer it, like why component testing is required from QA as well as dev?
For QA to also participate in that, and by a developer perspective, like as you reiterated earlier, he will test the basically the main functionality of that, like the unit testing and all. So that's all.
Okay, great, well said. Anyone else? Okay, let's assume I am a dev. I created a component, and I just need, let's say I created a button, and I would need to click it, and it'll perform certain action. When I click it, it's working fine, the action is being performed. But when the same thing a QA does, what happens is the QA will click it, he'll double click it, he'll triple click it, he'll go back and forth and again click it. So I think these are certain scenarios, very small though, very, I would say, irrelevant also, but I think it's necessary. When at a time when I was working in Ola, we had an argument, like me being a QA and the dev, and I said कि यार ये मेरे सिस्टम पे नहीं चल रहा है, उसने अपने सिस्टम पे चलाया, मेरे पे चल रहा है. तो आई सेड आई डोंट नो, मेरे सिस्टम पे नहीं चल रहा है. बोला सिस्टम बदलवा लो जाकर, ये ऐसे चल रहा है मेरे सिस्टम पे, मतलब ये सही है. And I couldn't understand then, but later, you get to know about it, what is a component testing, how you need to test it in the prior only till the end. Plus, this is not just a QA's responsibility. जब dev कोई code कर देते हैं, your approach should be to unit testers, which you always do. Second is, the thing you said, right, in your answer, that QA पूरा flow test करता है. I think it's the responsibility of a dev also. Whatever component you are building, you need to test the entire flow, be it login to dashboard to the checkout, right? Otherwise, how would you know that whatever components you have created or whatever coding you have done, it would work well till the last output, right? Another thing is the performance testing. We may have seen, like, on a page, a loader keeps on loading, right? Now, how can we test it? What would be the testing approach would be? That the profiler tab. It's a very well-used tool. I'm sure all of us know it, but very few use it, the actual use of it. So what it tells you, it analyzes what component is taking how long to render and how often it is rendering. And with that, it comes with another approach, which is your code splitting and bundling, like which code is not, the code that is not of much use, right? You can keep it into big bundles. But the drawback is also there, that if the bundle is too big, it takes too much time to load. And when it takes time to load, what would the user see on the screen? So we need to test that as well. It's not just code likh diya, chal gaya and ho gaya. So I think it's a responsibility of both. Moving on to the next slide. Okay. We can go back to the previous one once, yeah? I missed just couple of points when it comes to QA and dev. बहुत पुरानी कहावत है 36 का आंकड़ा. We have also been following, fighting over small things कि नहीं ऐसे चलेगा, नहीं ऐसे नहीं चलेगा, तुमने पूरा कोड लिखा ही नहीं है. And at times I have experienced it कि डेवलपर को बोला ये बग है, उसके ईगो को हर्ट हुआ, उसने बोला मैंने फिक्स कर दिया, लेकिन साथ में उसने 3 नए बग्स ऐड करके दिए. Now you keep on searching, right? So I think जब तक ये चलेगा, the cost increases. Why? Because you're taking more time to deliver the product. How it would be that QA and dev are both the sides of one coin, right? You are joined together since the beginning. If you feel that certain cases are missing out from the QA, you can tell them. If you work together from the beginning, you can figure out more scenarios. You can tell them how to test as well. Plus, there are other tools as well where you can, have anyone heard of simulations, mocking the request responses? Can you tell about it a little bit?
The virtual environment with the same conditions and everything is same in the real world. It's a virtual environment.
Great. So, and if you have the idea, like how we use it in the entire software development life cycle.
Yeah, like in the development, I have idea because when we are testing, like in the last few years, I am also in cyber security. So we have to test some scripts which can be harm my system. So we have run a virtual environment, virtual machines in the VMware, and then we test there because it's a real environment, but we have to test inside a virtual environment, so we do not have any chance to disturb my main system. So that's how we use it in development, mostly in cybersecurity to run scripts which can harm.
Great. So I think you have summed up what I wanted to say is, because you have you all write the code into small parts, right? But you are not sure of that when the entire system would be ready to work. But then how would you test? Being a QA or dev, how would you test that? So that time we have few tools named as Storybook. There are many other tools. You can use them. You can simulate the response and requests. You can even simulate the fallbacks when something is taking time to load. And if QA or dev works together since the beginning, I think you can share that with each other. You can get more insights in less time, and you can deliver a good product. So I think this is how we should work together as a team, and not like, we are from different teams. So I already mentioned the tools name, like you could use Profiler tab, we must use it. For entire system simulation, you can use Storybook. There is Jest for the test running, and many other tools are there. You just need to Google it sometime. Many other tools have been created for it for the same work, so need not to get stuck anywhere. And I think that's how we all can go ahead. So that was my time here. You have been great and quite audience over here, and I think I'm done. Thank you so much.